What if I told you you don't need a ball head or geared head for landscape photography? And in fact, all you need is a little flat plate head like this. Well, you'd probably think I was a bit mad. But in this video, I'm going to talk about this tripod here, the Kingjoy C85, this little flat plate head here from Kingjoy, and we're going to use it. I'm going to take some landscape photographs right here in Dartmoor, and we'll see if this really is all the kit you need. Afternoon and welcome to Dartmoor. We're going to be taking some landscape photographs of this fantastic area. I'm also going to be looking at a couple of bits of gear. We've got the Kingjoy C85 carbon fibre tripod here. Yeah, this is a bigger brother of the C83, which I took a look at late last year. If you want to check out that video as well, I'll include a link for that in the video description below. But the tripods are reasonably similar. This is just the bigger brother. But as well as looking at the tripod, we're going to look at this. This is the RB-40 plate head from Kingjoy. Now, when combined with this particular C85 tripod, the idea is you might not need to have a ball head or a geared head to do things like landscape photography. So we're going to check that out. We're going to have a look at the specs of each item. We're going to put them to test together, and I brought them to this particular location because this is really going to challenge this particular setup. Okay, let's take a look at the specs of the C85 tripod from Kingjoy. First thing I will say is they have sent me this tripod out to keep, but they have not asked me to say anything in this video, so any thoughts that I share will be my own. So this is the C85, the bigger brother to the C83, as I said. I just have the tripod here, but it does come as a kit, so you can get it with a ball head as well if you want. The tripod weighs 2 kilograms and the legs are made from carbon fibre. When it's folded, it's 570 millimeters tall, and when it's extended, it's 1,540 millimeters tall. It's a 4-section tripod. 2 of the legs have foam grips on them. The leg sleeves are dust and sand resistant. There's no centre column, but there is a hook. You can also adjust the angle of the legs so it sits almost flat on the ground. It has a maximum payload of 25 kilograms. It has a standard thread at the top, and just like the C83, it comes with rubber feet and tripod spikes. And the C85, just like the C83, also comes with a 5-year warranty. And lastly, it has this leveling bowl and spirit level. Okay, that's the specs covered. I'm just going to quickly talk about packaging. Now, this tripod obviously comes in a box, but it also comes covered in a plastic sleeve, and then also it comes with a tripod case. Now, I'm starting to notice that more products that I buy, particularly photographic products, they're taking the packaging a bit more seriously in terms of its environmental credentials. Now, while the plastic is of a recyclable nature, I'm a bit torn about the addition of a tripod bag. For me, that's just landfill. I'm never going to use it. I mean, maybe you feel differently. Let me know in the comments below. But you know, if I'm buying a tripod of this kind of value, I'm probably not the type of photographer that's going to put it in a case. And even if I was, I think I prefer them for it to not come with a tripod case, and then I just buy one off Amazon or something like that. Because I do feel it's maybe potential waste that doesn't actually need to be there. Now, it's not Kingjoy. They're not the only ones that do this. I expect a lot of tripod manufacturers and a lot of manufacturers of kit all over do that kind of stuff. So I just thought I'd call it out, maybe be interested to hear your comments as well on the subject. But I have noticed that some of the products that I've been buying now have started to come from more sustainable sources when it comes to their packaging. Okay, the next bit of kit, this is the Kingjoy RB-40, which they describe as a compact head. I weighed it in at 133 grams, which is nearly 600 grams lighter than my favourite geared head. Now, the idea of using this compact head is that you don't need to use a ball or a geared head. Instead, you attach this compact head to the leveling bowl on the C85 tripod and then adjust the position of that to adjust the position of the head and therefore the camera. It comes with an Arca Swiss plate, but I use the L bracket that I've got on my Z7 instead. You should note though that you will need an L bracket if you want to shoot vertically. Now that all sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But does it work in the real world? Well, let's find out. Hello and welcome back. The eagle-eyed of you will notice I'm wearing a different jacket and the conditions appear to be slightly different. Well, that's because just as I finished those bits to camera, it clouded over completely and I really didn't feel it was worth taking pictures. So I've come back in the morning, same place still here at Belstone Common, but I've swapped the completely overcast skies with clear blue skies and a very chilly wind. So I'm not entirely sure whether I'm any better off this morning, but never mind. We're going to carry on with the same plan. We're going to get the tripod set up and we'll start with my first composition. Let me talk you through my first composition. I'll get the tripod out in a second. So this should be a really good test of the setup actually. So what we've got here, the elements I'm looking for in this composition, I've got this foreground stack of rocks here. This one kind of looks like an arrowhead and they create a nice leading line that point out to the rest of the main stack there. And then I've got the rolling hills of Dartmoor out there and they look glorious at this time of year, a nice golden colour, which will hopefully, when that sun comes up just behind that hill there, cast that in golden light. There's nothing in the sky in terms of clouds, there's very little to get excited about, so I'm going to be pointing the camera down quite a bit. So in my vertical orientation, to make most of these rocks and cut out most of the uninteresting sky. So this should be a really good test of how much I can use that head to get the camera in the right position. Right, I've got the camera on the tripod and I'm going to set the shot up now. So I'm going to release the knob here and this allows me to move the leveling bowl about. I can move it from left and right, up and down. So if I line up this shot, I'm already at the limit, the vertical limit of the leveling bowl for this shot. I don't think it's going to be an issue though. I can see that I've got what I want from the foreground in. Still means I've still got quite a lot of sky. But for this shot, I normally shoot it vertical anyway, and then I crop it at 4:5, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. And then once I get that lined up, I just tighten that off, that locks it in place, and I'm just ready for the sun to come above the horizon and take the shot. By golly, it is freezing this morning. Oh dear, oh dear. Never mind, I'm going to take this landscape shot here, or to say this landscape orientation shot here. I'm going to get the camera on the tripod. So, just going to line up the shot. Again, really strong foreground in this shot, these great rocks here. Got a nice angled rock hanging off the toe there, out into the distance. Clear blue sky, unfortunately. It's really not ideal, it's quite contrasty, even with the early morning light. Now, again, I'm actually hitting the limit as when I point the camera down to get the composition. Well, maybe almost at the limit of where I want that to be. And I think some of the challenge with this particular setup, and this is why I've come to this location to test this tripod, because the ground is far from uneven. I've got tripod legs all at different lengths here to try and even things out and get me a sort of a level head, because the ground is particularly uneven around here. So you do find that you have to adjust the head a bit more, or in this case adjust the leveling bowl. But again, I think I'm just on the limit. Get it just right there. It's a bit like using a ball head. Get that locked off. Get the camera focused and take the picture. Okay, let's line up for another shot. This one should be a little bit easier on the tripod. It's a bit more even on the ground around here. Well, as even as Dartmoor ever gets. So again, just loosen it off. I'm not anywhere near the limits. Got quite a bit of flexibility here about where I line up my shot. I've just got to watch out for the shadows. One thing I am glad of, did I mention it's cold this morning? But the reason I'm bringing it up again is I'm really glad that this tripod's got foam handles, because it makes handling the tripod a lot easier. Just lock that off, focus the picture, focus the camera I should say, take the shot. I come right to the edge of Belstone Tor, where the view opens up. It's one of my favourite views of Dartmoor, I have to say. I can see all the way out to Oak Tor, Steeperton Tor, I can see Wasson Tor all the way there in the distance. But there's more than that. What's happened is this big bank of cloud has rolled in, but not so much that it's ruined the sky. It's quite dramatic as it's rolling across the hills. the sun is kind of coming in and out. But this is the viewpoint. Even though it's one of my favourite views to look at, it's not one I've necessarily photographed that much actually, and I'm quite excited. I've got these kind of foreground rocks here, pretty standard for Dartmoor really. I've got these, again, nice shapes, and that's what I find about Dartmoor. It can be quite chaotic with all the rocks, and it's all about picking out the shapes and the patterns. And then as the view moves out there, I've got these two other smaller tors here which kind of hold the side of the frame, and then you go out into the rolling hills out towards Oak Tor and then that sky. In fact, the sun is just coming out. I just set my shot up. It's just catching those rocks there. It's really nice. And because I haven't shot it before, I'm going to shoot it horizontally and I'm going to shoot it vertically, and we'll see which one I like the best. But actually, that cloud has just filled up that sky beautifully now. It's a lot nicer shot than those previous ones. Maybe a lot happier with this one, I think. Wow, I mean, just look at that view. It's absolutely glorious. And I know it's freezing up here. I've got all my gloves on, I've got glove warmers in and everything, and it's been really difficult to operate the camera. But these kind of final shots, I think, make me really happy now that that cloud's rolled in and got this lovely light. It's been a great morning of photography, and I had a lot of fun using this new tripod setup. But what my original plan was to actually do the final review here, tell you all about it, but it's too cold, it's too miserable to talk about tripods. So I'm gonna head home, warm up, get a cup of coffee, and we'll go to the office and we'll tell you all about what I think about the tripod head, and how it works as a combination. But I know I'm cold, but I'm just gonna enjoy this view just a little bit longer. Welcome back. As you can see, I'm home again now. I'm all nice and warm, and I've had a big cup of coffee. So it's time for me to share my thoughts on the tripod and the plate head. Let's talk about the C85 tripod first. And just like its little baby brother, the C83, there is a lot to like about this tripod. So if we look at the legs first, obviously made of carbon fibre, which makes it sturdy and lightweight. But those four sections there, it's really easy to unlock those legs, do all three at the same time, even with gloves on, and then they're super easy to extend out nice and smooth, lock that off, and you're up and running very quickly. And it's got a really good height as well. Equally, if you want to fold it away, contracting those legs nice and super smooth, those twist locks lock in place really quickly, and then it folds down to, I think, 570 millimeters, and it fits really nicely onto the side of my bag. It is also very sturdy. Gives you a lot of confidence that when you've got your camera in there, it's not going to move about. And then if you are in particularly windy conditions, I found the inclusion of the spikes particularly useful, because it does get windy up in Dartmoor. So I can just screw those in and they get planted into the ground. So I've got no problems doing long exposures, but of a longer lens photography with this. It does feel sturdy, and I think it's worth that extra weight because it is slightly heavier than the C83. So it weighs in at 2 kilograms, but like I say, it gives you a bit more sturdy and a bit more of an extra height. The leveling bowl, that's going to be useful if you've already got a ball head, for example, and you do panoramas, being able to level that base off. But I will talk a little bit more about the leveling bowl later on when we talk about the plate head. A couple of final last points. So while this is my tripod, I've not actually had it that long. So one thing I can't testify about Kingjoy tripods are their durability. However, it does come with a 5-year warranty, so that obviously gives me a lot of confidence. The other thing I will say, someone asked me in the C83 video about maintenance, and I've had a look round and I've taken off some of the twist locks and had a look inside, and it looks like a fairly standard construction inside, so I don't see there being any problem being able to dismantle parts of this tripod for cleaning. What I will say particularly about the twist locks is, as I said in part 1 of this video, they are dust and sand resistant, so you really shouldn't have a need, hopefully, to strip this tripod down and clean it too much. The only negative I have about this tripod is the leveling base. Now, while it's maybe not something that I'll use all the time. It is quite handy to have. It's maybe not the smoothest, and as you can hear, it is prone to a little bit of squeak every now and again. So that's the only thing I would say. But compared to other ball heads I use, I say it's as smooth. But yeah, that squeak is a little bit squeaky, shall we say. But other than that, because I'm probably not going to use it that much, I'm really happy with this tripod. I don't have any problems making this my kind of tripod that I will take out every single time I go and do photography, because I just like the height, like the versatility, the sturdiness of it, and how easy it is to get those legs in and out. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, let's talk about the RB-40, arguably the more interesting of the two products. So can you really leave your ball head or your geared head behind and use this instead? Well, yes and no. First of all, if you're going to shoot any vertical shots, you will need an L bracket. There's no other way to get the camera in the vertical orientation unless you're using an L bracket. Now, the movement of the ball, which you must have, so this plate head only works with this C85 tripod because it's got the leveling ball which you can move about, and that's how you orientate the camera. I did find it a little bit limited. I have to admit, putting the camera in a vertical orientation and pointing the camera down, I didn't find there was quite enough tilt there for me. I work on a lot of uneven ground. Dartmoor is a very uneven place, so it's quite difficult to get the tripod level in the first place and then only have that movement. I could mitigate some of that by adjusting the height of some of the tripod legs and putting more tilt in, but you know, that introduces some instability to the tripod. So, you know, when you're down at the sea, for example, which I've had this down seascapes where things are a lot more level, it's all I ever needed. You know, I had enough movement in there to take the shots that I want. But up in Dartmoor, yeah, I did find it a little bit limited. However, there's no doubt that this little plate head here, you know, it is small, it is lightweight, and you know, if you don't think you're going to hit the limits, then you know, this little plate head, you know, it's a really good addition. So what can we conclude from all this? Well, it's tricky. I think what Kingjoy have done here are given us options. So I don't think you can suddenly throw away your ball head or your geared head. This is just another option in my kit bag. So when I know I'm going down to the sea, for example, and things are relatively flat and I don't need much movement, or you know, I'm taking a family portrait or something, this is going to be ideal. But when I go out to Dartmoor and I'm dealing with uneven ground, I'm still going to need my geared head. I don't see how I can escape that. It just doesn't give me enough, particularly in the vertical axis, ability to tilt the camera down. But it is good in the weight saving. However, you've got to balance that weight saving up. So this only works with the C85, so it's already a slightly heavier tripod than the C83. So if I actually took my C83 out, well, I don't have a C83, if I had a C83 and I took my geared head out, it would still be lighter, I think, than this tripod and that plate. However, I wouldn't have the extra sturdiness and height that I get from the C85. So it's really not about this is the perfect setup, use this one or that one. It's about having options. And really, when it comes to your own buying decisions, you need to have a look at the C83 or the C85, depending on your height and how much weight you want to put on there. And then also the types of photography that you're going to do. So you might find that you buy both a plate head and a geared head, or a ball head, or one or the other. But you know, it's definitely not a case of this one or that is the best setup. What Kingjoy have done here is given us options, and frankly, options are good. Right, we're just about done here. But before you go, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you are interested in having a look at the C83 video, which is the slightly smaller tripod to this one, I'm going to pop a link for that up in the corner of the screen. So that hopefully give you the ability to compare that tripod with this tripod. And then I hope you've enjoyed hearing about this RB-40. Like I say, I don't think it's a case for replacing your tripod head. It's going to be another option in your kit bag if it's going to be suitable for you. And like I say, options are good. Also, I'm going to pop up in one of the corners of the screen a playlist as well. So if you've got a few more extra minutes, you can have a look at one of my other photography adventure videos of me out there taking photographs. Other than that, I do hope you've enjoyed it. And you know, if you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below. And you know, it really helps the channel if you click and like, and if you share this video. I really would appreciate it. And if you'd obviously like to see more videos from myself, they're not all about gear. Sometimes I just go out with the camera and take pictures. So click on that subscribe button and the notify button as well. But thanks again for joining me. And if you want any of these products, there are all links for them in the video description below. But until the next video, I'll see you then.